Daniel Noboa and Javier Milei had planned to travel to Mexico to attend Claudia Sheinbaum's inauguration as the country's president. They both intended to be present at this internationally significant event, but they were not officially invited by the Mexican government. Faced with the lack of invitation, they attempted to publicly apologize to the Mexican people and authorities for their past actions and statements. But those apologies have not been accepted. The reason behind this rejection is that both Noboa and Milei have been considered dishonest and opportunistic, trying to take advantage of the occasion to solve problems they face in their respective countries, especially related to oil supply. Noboa, the president of Ecuador, has been seeking a solution to his country's energy crisis, but has encountered Mexico's refusal to continue refining Ecuadorian oil. In his attempt to smooth the relationship, he offered formal apologies to the Mexican government for his previous offenses, which include insults towards Mexico and economic pressures. However, the Mexican government has made it clear that it will not accept these apologies unless Ecuador pays the debts it owes to Mexico. Noboa's apologies have been perceived as mere words without a real commitment to reparation or change in his attitudes, which has led to his exclusion from Sheinbaum's inauguration. For his part, Javier Milei, the president-elect of Argentina, has also publicly apologized after having insulted President Andrés Manuel López Obrador on several occasions. Milei said he regretted his offensive statements towards the Mexican president, but his apologies were not accepted either. The Mexican government considered that his apology, like Noboa's, was not sincere, and that he was only pretending to save face and gain access to Mexican resources such as oil due to the economic crisis that Argentina is going through. Despite his attempts, Milei was not invited to the inauguration, which has generated deep frustration in him. Mexico's refusal to accept these apologies is also framed in a delicate international context. While Daniel Noboa and Javier Milei seek reconciliation with Mexico, leaders from around the world are preparing to attend Claudia Sheinbaum's inauguration. Among the attendees, the possible arrival of international figures such as Russian President Vladimir Putin and US President Joe Biden is expected. This scenario has created a potentially conflicting situation, as the United States has offered a $1 million reward for Putin's capture and Nicolas Maduro, president of Venezuela, who also plans to attend the event in Mexico. The United States has pressured Mexico to act in capturing these leaders if they set foot on Mexican soil, offering a hefty sum of money in exchange for their arrest. However, the capture of such important figures as Putin or Maduro could have serious consequences for Mexico's foreign policy, especially with countries like Russia, which has been a key ally for the Latin American country in military and strategic cooperation matters. Russia has supported Mexico with humanitarian aid in various crises and has been one of the few countries that has sold military technology to Mexico, in contrast to the United States, which has blocked such sales. The question that arises is whether Mexico should get involved in this capture proposal or stay on the sidelines. Accepting the US offer could mean an immediate economic gain, but it could also jeopardize Mexico's diplomatic relations with important countries such as Russia and Venezuela. The capture of Putin or Maduro on Mexican soil during an internationally relevant event such as Claudia Sheinbaum's inauguration could unleash a major diplomatic crisis. Furthermore, Mexico is at a key moment in its history, with the change of command to Sheinbaum, who is expected to continue López Obrador's policies to reduce poverty and strengthen the country's economy. The inauguration event will also be an opportunity for Mexico to position itself as a key player in global trade. Meanwhile, Daniel Noboa continues to insist that Mexico must accept its oil and refine it, since Ecuador is facing an energy crisis and needs Mexico's support. However, the Mexican government has been clear that it is not obliged to do business with countries that have shown hostile or disloyal attitudes. Novoa has argued that Mexican companies, such as Pemex, are obliged to continue their contracts with Ecuador, but Mexico has stopped refining Ecuadorian oil, which has aggravated the situation in Ecuador. Ecuadorian farmers, who depend on the trade of products such as bananas and cocoa, have also suffered the consequences of this trade breakdown since they have no buyers for their products and face the expropriation of their land by banks. The tension between Mexico and Ecuador has also been fueled by Novoa's proposal to allow the installation of a US military base in his country. This move has generated concern in the region, especially among the countries that share a border with Ecuador, since the presence of US troops in the area could alter the balance of power. The possibility of the United States having a greater military presence in Latin America has generated nervousness among the governments of the region, who see this as a threat to their sovereignty. Javier Milei, for his part, has been left high and dry after his public statements in which he assured that he would travel to Mexico, regardless of what López Obrador said. However, the reality is that he was not invited to the inauguration, and if he decided to attend on his own, he could face the possibility of being arrested. Milei has generated strong rejection in Mexico due to his derogatory comments towards the country and its government, and his presence is not welcome. Unlike figures like Putin or Maduro, who have the support of international allies, Milei has been seen as an enemy of Mexico for his insults and hostile attitudes. Mexico's refusal to accept the apologies of Milei and Novoa has been supported by the majority of the population, who believe that both leaders must take responsibility for their actions before seeking reconciliation. The Mexican government has made it clear that it is not willing to make concessions to countries that have shown hostility towards Mexico, especially if those concessions do not benefit the Mexican people. Mexico's position is firm. Empty apologies will not be accepted, much less will trade relations be restored under unfavorable terms. In conclusion, Claudia Sheinbaum's inauguration marks a new chapter in Mexico's history in which the country seeks to consolidate itself as a leader in global trade and maintain its political and economic independence. The apologies of Novoa and Milei have been rejected because they are not perceived as sincere, but as an attempt at manipulation to obtain economic benefits. Mexico has the opportunity to decide with whom it does business and under what conditions, and it seems to be willing to maintain its sovereignty and dignity in the face of leaders who have shown aggressive and disloyal attitudes.